The Pelicans bringing out the sweep to the Trailblazers season, which we are going to start with looking at Portland, what went wrong, and where they go from here in terms of their franchise. It's just worth noting from the start that, yes, it was an abysmal postseason loss, and this is the third time in the past 4 seasons that the Trailblazers have lost in the first round. But the season as a whole was a success in terms of they finished just 1 win shy of a 50-win season, and they finished third in the West, which can't be underestimated in terms of that is still a good season.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they just got a horrible matchup, as nobody can really handle AD. At least the Warriors have a Draymond-esque player who can slow him down. They had nobody. Nurkic couldn't do it. Ed Davis, probably their best option. And Aminu couldn't handle it, and especially when they're just daring him to shoot. It's not a formula for Portland to win. And on top of that, Drew Holiday completely shut down Lillard.
That's the surprise packet, really.
Yeah, and Lillard, we took 18, 17, 20, and 19. So only one game he cracked the 20 number, and he just cracked it literally 20 on the dot. And shooting 35% from the field, 30% from 3. He had 16 turnovers for the series to his 25 made field goals. And CJ wasn't bad. I mean, he had 19, 22, 22, 38, shot 51% from the field, 42% from 3. He could have been a lot better. Rondo did quite a good job on him, and the times that...
Playoff Rondo. Right?
Playoff Rondo, which we'll get to later. Is that a thing? I don't know, but playoff and national television Rondo, as Jared said last week, seems to be a thing. But Lillard, he let himself down considering everything he talked about around the All-Star break and around his performance. He thinks he's a top 5 player in the league, probably, but definitely top 5 point guard.
Not even.
How disappointing was that series for him?
Very. If you want to show that you're a top 5 guard, you don't show up like Lillard did. That was very disappointing.
He also settled. Like, so many of his shots were like 35-foot bombs, which he can hit. We know he can hit them, but it's just when you're struggling, especially...
Is that the shot you want to go to?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the problem. He just had nothing against Drew, so he got to the point where he's like, this is the best I got.
And the Pelicans would be loving that.
Oh,
Him
yeah.
just
Because
lobbing
as
them
good
over
as
his
he
head.
is, and especially he is a long-range marksman, he's shown the ability to do it. So what if he hits 2 of them a game? Like,
I just find that it's embarrassing with a bloke that has handles like he can and can drop the 3. How Drew Holiday locked him up is beyond me.
The problem, it's also on the offensive side, but on the defensive side, he's a bit of a traffic cone defensively.
him and CJ.
He
It's
just
a bit of a
he
liability.
can't. Yeah, he's a real big liability, and you see that Holiday scored 21, 33, 16, and 41 in the 4 games they played. So
And that's after he's spending the energy to completely shut him down on the
yeah,
other end.
and like Dame only outscored him one of those games. So like Drew scored 16. I don't know if it's the same game, but Dame scored 20. So it's
that was the one he outscored him in.
it's amazing to see that Drew Holiday, after all he's been through, and it's such a good story to see him back and playing good basketball, because when he was at Philadelphia when they were bad, he was almost an all-star.
Yeah.
He was actually
I think he was an all-star.
He
for
was an
1
all-star
year,
one year, but like
He
and
never got that
He had a
credit.
lot of potential and so much talent, and it's finally good to see him on a team where he fits and where he's able to play his role and do it really well.
Yeah, and I think the big issue for Portland is the fact that they're stuck in terms of what they can do with their caps. So at the moment, they've got $110 million in guaranteed salary next season, with Lillard and McCollum combining for just under $54 million of that. But the big issue start with guys like Evan Turner, who's going to make $17.9 million next year.
Oh, no.
Which that's one of those deals that was signed when the new broadcast came through. Everybody was getting overpaid. And then the big one is Myers Leonard is set to make $10.6 million.
That's too much.
And too much.
They're stuck with those
Little bit.
contracts.
Yeah,
They're
and
not trading that
That's
away.
the problem. And then you've got Ed Davis, Nurkic, Shabazz Napier, and Pat Connaughton, who are all set to be free agents. The big question they have to make is twofold. One, do you re-sign Nurkic? Because he's kind of your 3-man if you're going for a big 3, even though it's a questionable big 3.
Not a big 3.
But they're best 3 players then.
Yeah.
Do you keep the CJ and Dame backcourt, or do you break it up? That's the question.
What else can they get though at the moment? They're sort of stuck. I think they're stuck with him because if you get rid of him, then you're just going to bottom out and become like Chicago.
And it's like, do you think that adding one or two pieces that aren't going to be superstars are going
Is
to
gonna
propel
make
them
enough of a
past that
difference.
third seed?
They really,
'Cause they're not close
if
to
they
the
didn't
Rockets
have
or
the likes of
Warriors.
Evan Turner, Myers Leonard, those guys on those contracts,
Yeah.
they could go out and try and add another just all-star level player, and they would
mid-level.
probably be right up there. Because this is a team that's hovered around 40 to 50 wins over the past 5 seasons or so. They're so close.
They're
They're
always
just
in the
lacking that
picture, yeah.
one extra piece to take them up to genuine contender.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're almost like a Washington type team where
Yeah.
they've got the
Yeah.
like a great backcourt, but then you
Except
look
they're
at their
not
front
as
court and they,
dysfunctional.
well, yeah. But then you look at Washington, they got Gortat, who's probably their starting center and like their centerpiece. But then you look at Portland, and Nurkic has had a couple of all right games. He had an
He's
all right
still-
stretch, but he's not a starting
Nurkic
center
thinks he's
for a
better than
playoff
he
team.
is.
Yeah.
Like his finishing ability around the rim isn't great. And there probably are going to be some teams, especially lower down the standings, that are going to want to pay him quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure Portland's going to want to match that when he's a free agent, which they'll have to decide. But as I said, credit has to go to Portland credit has to go to the Pelicans because they deserved to sweep. They were phenomenal, just brilliant. We talked about playoff Rondo, 53 assists in 4 games. We talked about AD, who averaged 33 points, just under 12 boards, 2.8 blocks, 1.8 steals over the series.
Yeah.
He's so much for that team.
They're the informed team at the moment.
Yeah.
They're coming in with the steam behind them. Then Mirotic as well averaged 18 points over the series and exploded for 30 in Game 3, he hit some massive shots down the stretch as well to help them close that game out. But yeah, it is a disappointing end to Portland's season, an end that I don't think we saw coming as quickly as we did. I mean, the last time we did the podcast, we talked about, that was after Game 1.
Yeah.
And we said, we're going to be really surprised if Dame and CJ don't respond after that.
Exactly, and I think you go back to the start of this playoffs, and you had to pick one series that was going to be a sweep. This would not have been the one you'd pick, and especially not in New Orleans' favor.
Yep, exactly. And now the Pelicans obviously await the Warriors, which we'll get to later in the second round.